Today we're going to be doing a head-to-head comparison between two of the most popular digital night vision devices, the Sionyx Opsin, which is considered to be a high-end monocular, and the price recently dropped down to under $2,000, and the NVG30, which represents the top end of performance for budget night vision, which is currently available for under $500. The Opsin is widely used in law enforcement and the shooting community and is considered by many to be the best digital night vision device on the market, and the NVG30 is widely considered to be one of the best entry-level night vision devices and offers much better performance compared to the Night Fox Prowl, the NVG10, Night Operators, and other similar devices. There will be links down in the description below in case you want to pick up either of these two devices, and for full disclosure, I do sell the NVG30 on my website Goodnight Gear, but a ton of my subscribers are asking for this video, so I will give you completely unbiased feedback about their performance. We're going to start off with a side-by-side, and on the left is the Sionyx Opsin, and on the right we've got the NVG30. They're both pretty similar in basic design and size, and here is a Gen 2 Plus PVS-14 for comparison, and the aesthetics on the Opsin are definitely much more similar to the PVS-14 compared with the NVG30. The Opsin has an objective lens on the front, and you can rotate this to adjust the focus, and inside there's a XQE1350 BSI CMOS sensor. Beneath that is the power knob with EV adjustments, and we'll dive a bit deeper into the UI in a few minutes. On the top there's a rail that connects with the included helmet mount and also a place to hook up power, and on the side here we've got a cover for a micro SD card, and on the other side we've got some more controls, and then on the back there's this eyepiece, which is what you look through, and a diopter adjustment ring as well. The NVG30 also has an objective lens that can be rotated to focus, and this is actually the same size as a standard PVS-14, so they are compatible with the same lens covers and some sacrificial style lenses, and it also runs a similar ultra low luminance CMOS sensor, and there's also an onboard 940nm IR illuminator, which the Opsin does not have. You can connect various mounts to the top here, and we'll explore these options a little later. And on this side there is a cover which protects the USB-C port and a micro SD video recording card. On the other side we've got a very similar button layout to the Opsin, and on the back we've got an eyepiece and access to the battery compartment. One big difference between these two devices are the battery options. The Sionyx relies on power from an external battery pack with a 5,960 mAh capacity, and it can be connected to the Opsin via a proprietary connector cable, and this pack is designed to be carried on the back of a helmet, and it also functions as a counterweight, and runtime will be in the 10 to 14 hour range. The NVG30 runs off a single 18650 battery, and these are really easy to swap in and out on the go as needed. Runtimes on the included 2600 mAh battery are typically in the 5 to 6 hour range with IR lighting turned off, but you can extend this with higher capacity batteries, keeping additional 18650s in your kit or connecting an external power bank to the NVG30's USB-C port. Since there are no external power sources required to use the NVG30, it is much easier to be incorporated into your kit and to be used as a handheld monocular. With regards to helmet mounting options, the Opsin comes with this dovetail compatible swing arm in the box, and you can connect this to a helmet with a G24 mount, so you'll need to factor in those costs into your setup as well. It is very secure and durable feeling, and you'll most likely also run the battery pack on the helmet, so you need a pouch back there, but this setup does work pretty well as a counterweight. The NVG30 comes with a proprietary mount to help you get set up and running, but there is definitely much more durable mounting solutions on the market, and it comes with a dovetail adapter which you can use to build a more robust setup, or even connect two of them together on a bridge for some bino action. When all is said and done, there are some pretty staggering differences between the weights of these two setups. With the NVG30 and the mount, the weight is a little over 14 ounces, but adding a more heavy duty mount will definitely increase the weight. With the Opsin battery pack and mount, this configuration weighs in at nearly 1 pound 14 ounces, which is considerably heavier, but you will get over double the runtime with this setup. Both of these devices do support video recording, which is a nice feature, and the NVG30 comes with a 16 gig micro SD card, and footage from the device can be transferred to your computer via USB-C, and it can also record 2K 2560 by 1440 video. The Opsin also comes with a micro SD card, and the included one has a 32 gig capacity, and both of these devices do have built-in mics, so you'll be able to pick up audio as well. There is also Wi-Fi compatibility on both of these devices. Controls on these units are very similar. On the Opsin, a short press is programmable and set to ROI select by default, and a long press will adjust the frames per second. The middle button button will allow you to zoom and enter the menu, and this button will allow you to take still images and also start and stop video recording. There's also a knob on the front, which is the power switch and exposure value control, which you're going to want to keep low in brighter environments and crank up when you're in low light environments. On the NVG30, long pressing the right button will turn the device on and off, and a short press will begin recording. The middle button will allow you to control the color of the viewing mode and the IR illuminator output, which is set to off by default, and the left button will control the zoom and also allow you to access the menu. Here's a look through the eyepiece. The Opsin is definitely much more robust in terms of the UI, and a lot more information is available at a glance, including digital compass, your GPS coordinates, frame rate, exposure value, battery life, recording status, and many more advanced features in the menu. And the eyepiece screen is an extra large AMOLED 1920 by 1080 display. The NVG30 does have a built-in digital compass, but I've noticed that it's not the most reliable, but I do like the optional picture-in-picture mode, which gives you a little zoomed-in window at the top of the center screen, which you can use to see further without compromising your whole field of view. You'll also see the battery life, video recording, the IR status, as well as the 1920 by 1080 OLED display, and overall both of these devices do deliver very crisp and clear images. Here's a side-by-side view of how these screens will appear through your eyepiece, and the image will definitely look slightly larger on the Opsin compared with the NVG30. There's not a huge difference here, but the image through the eyepiece is a little bit larger on the Opsin, and having a larger screen closer to your eye is going to provide a slightly more immersive visual experience. Here's a look at their views overlaid, which is going to make it easier to put their fields of view into perspective, and they are fairly similar, but the Opsin does have a slightly wider 45-degree field of view compared to the NVG30's 40-degree field of view, so overall this will provide the user with a bit better performance. And also this footage is confirming that both of these devices are compatible with IR lasers, and this is the MAL C1 Plus clone that has both an IR and a visible laser, and an IR and a regular flashlight. And this is another product you can pick up from Goodnight Gear, and this will be linked to down below. Anyways, you do get a wider and a taller picture with the Opsin, and having a wider field of view definitely puts you at an advantage in most circumstances, but the NVG30 is not too far behind in this category. We're going to drop the frame rates down to 30 frames per second when we test out these devices in low light environments with no IR lighting, and this will give them the most amount of time to capture the little amount of light that we're going to be working with. At the moment, we're filming this in a dark closet, and footage from the NVG30's recorder is on the top left. Beneath that is footage recorded through the eyepiece, and on the top right we've got footage from the Opsin's video recorder, and beneath that is footage recorded through the eyepiece. On both devices, the view through the eyepiece is better at picking up objects in lower light areas compared to the recorded footage, but the difference in performance is much more noticeable with the NVG30, as the view through the eyepiece is significantly better compared to the recorded footage, which is important to keep in mind as we continue to look at footage with no supplemental IR lighting. The rest of the footage we'll be looking at was filmed under a full moon with 100% illumination, and under these conditions there's really no need to run any IR lighting on the NVG30 for the most part, but we will turn it on and off in a few different places. And in conditions where sufficient moonlight or ambient light is present, you can go ahead and crank up the FPS on the Opsin to 90, which is a decent amount quicker than the max 40 frames per second available on the NVG30. While the Opsin definitely does do a better job of amplifying low light, I've noticed that the NVG30 is not far behind, especially when looking through the viewfinder. And even in conditions with very little moonlight, you still don't need to run any sort of supplemental IR lighting unless you're in a very dark, densely wooded area or in a dark building with no ambient lighting, and you'd pretty much need supplemental IR lighting in those conditions with any night vision devices. In this shot, we're having a tough time seeing the foliage down at the bottom of the bridge with both of these devices, and IR lighting from the NVG30 provides a nice boost in visibility for both units. With regards to latency, the view on the Opsin is extremely close to what you'd see in real time, which will give you a slight advantage over the NVG30 if you need to rely on these devices to navigate quickly. The NVG30 is not far behind, and the effect of the latency is only barely noticeable, and it is much quicker compared to other similar devices around the same price point. The quicker you need to move, the more you'll start to notice the advantages of having a device with a faster frame rate and less latency, and this is definitely another category where the advantage will favor the Opsin, but only slightly. The Opsin has a full color viewing mode, and it really picks up some amazing colors and looks incredibly cool. We're also looking at the NVG30's full color mode, which is similar, but it doesn't quite deliver as much range of colors. I've also noticed sometimes the NVG30's color mode is more pinkish, and other times it's not, depending on the environment. I did stumble across a Cybertruck when I was out collecting footage for this comparison, and definitely had to take a moment to check that out. One advantage I noticed that favors the NVG30 is in environments where ambient lighting is present, and it is able to do a better job of providing visibility between lighter and darker areas, and the Opsin seems to have a bit more trouble balancing contrast between these types of environments. If you're planning on using these devices in the woods or outdoors completely away from light, then this won't be an issue, but in urban areas this is definitely something to keep in mind. Both of these units do provide a very clear and crisp image, and pardon some of the footage where either of these devices might be out of focus. The clarity does seem to be only slightly better with the Opsin compared to the NVG30, but they are both very good and incredibly close. We'll wrap this video up with my final thoughts on these two devices. There's no question that the Opsin is a better performing unit. The UI is more advanced, field of view is wider, the low light performance is better, and the refresh rates are quicker. That being said, there is a significant price difference between these two devices, and even with the price drop down to $2,000, it's still over $1,500 more, or 4 times as expensive as the NVG30, and when you factor in a mount and a decent helmet for the Opsin, the price gap continues to grow. While the NVG30 did fall short to the Opsin in many aspects of performance, in most cases it wasn't too far behind, and the performance might be good enough for you depending on your use cases. For close quarter tactical purposes, the advantages would definitely favor the Opsin, but in most other outdoor mid to long range encounters, there would be very minimal advantages to the Opsin. There are significant weight savings with the NVG30, which would make it more comfortable to helmet mount for extended periods of time, and being able to swap batteries in and out in the field is another huge advantage over the Opsin's battery configuration, which does rely on a proprietary AC charger. It's also much more feasible to use the NVG30 as a handheld monocular. For people new to night vision, the NVG30 is an exceptional entry-level product and is a viable solution in most scenarios, and most people I've talked to, including other YouTubers who have used this unit, have been very impressed by its performance. At the moment, if you have a few $1,000s to spend getting into night vision, analog might be a better option to go with over the Opsin, but analog is going up in price, and if this continues, the Opsin would start to look like a better and better choice, and it is certainly more attractive at $2,000 compared to $2,500. If you see yourself running and training under night vision more frequently, the Opsin will provide a better experience, but if you can't afford it, you can get an NVG30 and a helmet together for well under $600, which is a far more feasible expense for most people, and it will give you pretty much all the same capabilities with only slight sacrifices in performance. Let us know what your thoughts are on these two devices down in the comments below, and if you do plan on picking up either of these devices, consider using the affiliate links down in the description, which will help me make more night vision comparisons like this one, and if there are any other night vision devices you'd like to see compared side by side, let me know down in the comments below.